Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you for the Healthy American Morning. I'm streaming live. Actually, I'm not streaming live, but this is a premiere live stream for you for October 10th. I am here Mondays at 11 a.m. to add positive value to your life. And you sure add positive value to my life. We are going to be talking about where to go from here. And look at this lovely belated birthday package that I got from a Healthy American. And I'm going to share this with you at the end of this broadcast. Stay tuned because I have a lovely card and I want to tell you all about my Healthy American friend. And I'm so grateful to be with all of you. And I want to thank the moderators and all of the Healthy Americans that are a part of our supportive, positive encouragement community. Last week, we talked about having something to look forward to. And it's so important that we don't allow the tyrants to steal our soul. Some months ago, I really had an epiphany and I thought, even though I'm teaching about your rights and the laws that protect them, and I'm teaching classes on how to get medical care without discrimination and how to keep your job and how to keep your business open, how to get your kids out of the government schools, even though I was standing up and fighting against the tyrants, and I still am, I was getting psychologically weary. I was getting worn down. And that's because I was giving over my every waking moment, and I still do, but within balance, to studying and researching and talking and teaching. And I realized that I needed to think about how I want my life to be going forward. And I can hear my little dog barking. Hang on one second. Okay, I took care of little teddy bear there. She normally is sleeping right here. So I wanted to think about how I wanted my life to be going forward. We no longer are in the old normal, thank goodness. The old normal is what got us into the state. We certainly don't want to be a part of the new normal. And what I like to think about is better than normal. How can I create my life? Where do I go from here? Do I want to spend every waking hour thinking about the oppression, the tyranny, the terrorism? Do I want to use my precious grains of rice, as I like to think about the units of energy in my lifetime? I have a giant bag of rice. Am I just going to scoop up those grains of rice and scatter them? Or am I going to carefully and consciously think about how I'm spending that energy? So what I did is I actually took time to think about my life and how I wanted my life to be going forward. And you may say, Peggy, you're living in a dreamland. I don't get to choose. I've got a family. I've got financial difficulties. I've got health issues. I can't just wave, the hand and say, okay, everything's better now. But that's exactly what I want to help you with, is to think about, given my circumstances, given the hardships, the current situation that I find myself in, where can I go from here? Now what? That's sort of another phrase that I will ask myself. This is what happened. Now what? Where do I go from here? And I determined that I was not going to allow the tyrants to steal my soul, to steal my joy. Let me give you a story of a couple of years ago. I can't believe we're talking about this, was a couple of years ago, but it stuck with me to this day. In the very beginning, when things were really shut down in California, my home state, and this is where it was the first shutdown, it was the first state of emergency in the United States, and it still persists to this day. So unless you're in California, you may not realize exactly how suffocated we've been and how strangled we've been. You can't even go into a Los Angeles city or county building unless you are suffocating yourself, or not even that. You have to show proof of your cooties cocktail. It's absolutely stunning. So when all of this started to break out, my family wanted to go to Big Bear. It's a mountain resort, a couple of hours from here. And this was in the spring. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. You want to try to get gas at a gas station? You think that you're going to be able to walk in and use the public restroom? You think they're not going to bother you about suffocating your face and things aren't going to be shut down? What if we need help? Now, keep in mind, none of us have complied with any of this. Hashtag never have, never will. So I was thinking, why would you even want to put yourself in this position of renting a cabin and you're going to have to go in to the timeshare office, and what if they don't let you in? And my husband said, sweetheart, this is exactly what the evildoers want. They want you to stop living. They want you to think that everything is shut down. They want to prevent you from traveling and moving and enjoying your life. And I also said, well, how in the world can I take a couple of days off when I am working night and day researching about this horrible board of supervisors, trying to come up with strategies and laws and handouts and update the website and take phone calls and make videos and have public appearances? How in the world could I take a couple of days off when Rome is burning? And my husband said, that's exactly why you need to take the time off. You are going to burn yourself out. You're not going to be able to help anyone else. So it was right on the heels. And I remember this because it was Memorial Day of 2020. And we had been fighting ever since March against our county board of supervisors. That county board, who I'm suing, and I'm winning, by the way, that county board is the legislative body that decided to shut down the parks and the beaches and the schools and all of the government services. And so we were fighting against them. And then they came out with this edict that you had to suffocate yourself in public. Excuse me? Nobody's going to tell me what I put on my face or don't put on my face, especially walking around in public. So hundreds of us, if not thousands of us, went and gave our testimony at the Orange County Board of Supervisors, telling them in no uncertain terms that we were never going to go along with this. And the best of all was when our sheriff said, we are not the mask police and we don't intend to be the mask police. So on the record, the sheriff's department said they are not enforcing any of these COVID measures. I can't even believe I said the word. I think YouTube might be loosening up on its censorship a little bit. They said we are not enforcing any of these cooties measures at all. So fine, put out these orders. We're not going to enforce it. So the following day, the chairman of the Board of Supervisors came out and said there is a revised order where the suffocation devices are now simply strongly recommended, but they are not required. Well, that was a huge victory. And that's when my husband said, that's it. You're taking a couple of days off. You got through the fire. And I thought, whew, that was a close one. And it was the 3-day weekend. So we drove up to Big Bear. And my phone started blowing up with all of these links and Facebook posts and everything. The governor of California said, we're making it mandatory for the entire state. So the Orange County Board of Supervisors thought, we're going to sideswipe them. We're going to bamboozle them. We're going to hoodwink them. And we're going to tell them, oh, we're not requiring the suffocation device, because the very next day the state said that it would be required. And basically till this day, they have never pulled back from that requirement. So these, a word comes to mind that I'm too polite to use. My husband calls them these bamboozlers. These bamboozlers thought that they got away with it, but we did not relent. And so then we changed our tactic to educating people, letting them know that even if the government said that, you still don't have to do it. But the point is this: we had a lovely couple of days getaway in Big Bear. I had my phone with me. I was still keeping up on the news. I was still doing my, protest and my promotions and supporting people and educating people, even though I was away. But I needed that time to prove to myself that those tyrants were not going to steal my soul. They were not going to come in between me and my family having a couple of days off that we needed, and you needed as well. So even though we are still in the thick of fighting, in some ways it's getting worse. As I say, worst is worse than worse, because they are not relenting and they're coming out with additional egregious requirements. People are being suffocated on the job. They're not being allowed to get in for their medical discrimination. By the way, I'm going to be doing an updated class on how to get medical care without discrimination. I'll have that coming soon. So stay tuned. Please be sure that you're on the free email newsletter. You can find out about that in the description box below, or just go to thehealthyamerican.org. Love to have you be a part of the Healthy American family. Why not take a moment and subscribe to this channel as well? Tell your friends about it. And I want to make sure that I can continue to come to you, which is why I have this second channel here on YouTube. My 5 p.m. live streams are over at the Healthy American channel with Peggy Hall. Love to see you there as well. And there we talk a lot about the tactics, the strategies, the techniques, and the solutions and resources and remedies to fight these tyrants. But today's message is all about finding ways to live your life even with the tyrants And even with the hogwashers, even with the bamboozlers, even with the puppet masters, even with the evildoers. Somebody emailed me and said, Peggy, how do we stop our country from being taken over by the New World Order? I call it the New World Disorder. And my answer was, I have a better question for you. The question is, how do we maintain living in liberty, even if the New World Disorder takes over our country? Because you only can control what you do personally. I can't even control what Teddy does. I can't control my husband. I can't control my family. I can't control the post office clerk. I can't control my boss. You can only control what you do. And that's hard enough for a lot of us already. So when you determine that I am going to create a life of freedom, I want you to think about, what does that look like for me? And I want you to remove any restrictions. I want you to think about, if money was no object. I want you to think about, if all of your concerns related to health, to finances, to relationships, any of those things, set that on the back burner. I want you to start clean and clear. And many people have never even thought about the answer to this question. What do I want my life to be? What do I want it to look like? What do I want to look like in that life? How do I want to feel in that life? What do I want to be doing in that life? Who do I want to be doing it with? What do those people look like? What do my surroundings look like? What kind of environment do I want to be in? And you can drill down to the very day. Like, what do I want my days to look like? What time do I want to wake up? What do I see when I wake up? What do I hear? What do I put on? What am I wearing? What is the bedding like? What is the decor like? Now, you may say, there you go again, Peggy, living in a dreamland. I don't have the time or the money for that. Friends, this exercise is absolutely free. It is a type of brainstorming, maybe daydreaming. I like to think of it as life planning. And if you want to know exactly what I did, the steps that I did to change my thinking about myself living in this oppressive regime, living with the prospect of life is not going back to how it used to be, but thinking about, how can I grow going forward? What do I have control over in my life? For example, I can control what I wear, the jewelry that I have, how I fix my hair, my glasses, they decor to a certain extent. There are things that I have control over, what I can eat, when I can eat, what do I like to eat. So you can drill down to the smallest items in your day and then think about completely enjoying what is yours to do. So I have, in my mind body makeover class, where I go into great detail, today's broadcast is a shorter one, but I have a 3-hour class, and I have a link for you below if you're interested. And I talk about my new look, but I talk about my new thoughts and the thinking that I had to get in line and the obstacles that I had to overcome in order to move ahead in my life and to reclaim that feeling of being lighthearted and uplifted and looking for the positive and enjoying life, even in the midst of the tyranny. So your homework assignment is very simple. You can daydream, you can type, you can handwrite, you can draw pictures, you can have a conversation with someone, you can have a conversation with yourself, you can take a bubble bath, and you can just think, how do I want my life to be? What do I want my life to be? And more importantly, what steps can I take today a little bit forward on the path to that life? Maybe you think, I really want to get in a community of people that I like, that I trust, that I can do a barter with. Maybe you're a hairdresser or a teacher, or you can grow food, or you like housekeeping, or you can do pet sitting, or you've got medical expertise, and you're thinking, gee, I have something to offer a community. Where can I find a community of like-minded people? Well, hopefully you're finding some here on this channel. But where can you go? Maybe you can go to a church, to a community group, to a singing group. You can take a class. Even online, you can meet people online. You can find if this is something you want in your life. You may be the exact opposite. You may have been working in business or schools, and you're tired of people, and you want to pull back and just be with your family and your loved ones. And you want to find out about maybe letting some of those relationships go. I cannot tell you what you want your life to be. I'm still thinking about it and I'm fine tuning it for myself. And I go in a direction that brings me peace. That is the antidote to the tyranny. What can I do in my life that brings me peace? I have determined that I am no longer going to eat food just because it's placed in front of me if I don't like what it tastes like. I have determined that I am going to enjoy every day, even in the trials, even in the stormy seas. I'm going to find ways to grow and learn from that. I have determined that I'm going to get a good night's sleep because I know that when I'm lacking sleep, and boy, I've seen some videos where I can tell I was lacking sleep, I'm irritable and I'm more emotional and I don't feel as comfortable and grounded and secure. So these are just a few of the things that I've determined for my life. And it's still changing. And I'm thinking about next month and next year and maybe a few years from now. What do I want my life to be like? What do I want to be engaged in? What do I want to be learning? How do I want to be growing? Friends, do not allow the tyrants to steal your joy, to steal your future, or to steal your dreams. That is exactly what they want to do. And I'm here to help you turn that ship around and to sail in the direction of your dreams. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Can't wait to see you next week, friends. It's 11 a.m. Monday mornings, Pacific, and that's where we have these uplifting conversations. And then Monday through Friday at the Healthy American Peggy Hall, starting at 5 p.m. for my live streams, all about breaking news. I give you my analysis. I help you see things in it with a discerning eye. We dig deeper, and then I also bring you my resources and remedies in the show that I do, Peggy to the Rescue. So grateful to have you on board. Can't wait to see you in an upcoming broadcast.